slot next to him, we've got number 33, which is, hold on a minute, here we go. All right, 33, we've got Nick Kane from Christchurch on the 675 Daytona. He's in third spot. Number 18, whoa, hold on a minute, Seth Devereaux's waving furiously.
Wait, there's Marshall down the end of the track. Marshall on the track, Marshall on the track, Marshall on the track.
Yep.
Marshall on the track.
He's gone now. Yep, okay. Well spotted, Seth. So, Jake Lewis, Yamaha, Avalon Biddle, Kawasaki, Nick Kane, Triumph.
It's another Triumph in fourth place. Seth Devereaux in
fifth on the MV, isn't it? And yep. Who's that?
92. Here we go. We're ready for a start. Lights are on, and we're away. Good start from Avalon. Jake bogged it off the line. He's going to have to do some work.
That's the second time he's done that. Avalon's beaten him off the line.
Good hole shot there from Avalon. Now she'll hold a nice, tidy defensive line into turn one. Look for an early
that bike
throttle.
As wide as she can.
And away she goes. She's got a good wee break this time. Pulled out 4 bike lengths there. How does she go into the pothole and the run down into the hairpin? This is usually where some initial dices are made on turn one.
Yeah, and look at Jake. Look at Jake going up
around the outside.
Not quite quick enough now. First lap on these bikes, they might have been on tyre warmers, but the tyres are not up to temperature. The brakes are not up to temperature. You've got to take it a little bit careful, but at the same time, you've got people breathing up your exhaust, so there's no quarter. But they do have to be a little bit careful until these bikes are warmed up a bit. It's a predominantly left-handed track, Ruapuna, so you tend to get more heat in one side of the tyre than the other. So first couple of laps, there's no heat in the right-hand side of the tyre. And yeah, they can start skipping around. Look at how close they are. Oh, Jake puts his foot down, for heaven's sake.
Dangle the leg, a bit of extra air brake there. Assists on the turn-in as well.
Good fast turnover from Avalon. She's just where she wants to be right now. Jake is sitting about 0.1 of a second behind. Let's see what happens on the straight. Avalon's got the slight edge, and that Kawasaki is quick down the straight. But is it enough? Is it enough?
Well, Jake's certainly in the slipstream there. Looks like he's going to move to the outside for a run around the outside into turn one. And he's made that move stick. A nice manoeuvre into turn one there for Jake Lewis. Nice and clean round the outside, as you'd expect from Jake. Former world champion.
64 thousandths of a second was the gap as they crossed the line for the first time.
You can't get any closer than that, I'm telling you. That is amazingly close racing. And good dice for third place going on as well. So that looks like Nick Kane, Seth Devereaux and Ashton Hughes having a good battle there.
Hughes in the blue bike in fifth.
So that must be Seth moved up into third place then. So good riding there from Seth Devereaux, a man from
Nick Kane.
currently hailing from Cromwell.
So it's Nick Kane, Seth Devereaux and Ashton Hughes battling it out for the third, fourth and fifth. But you can see already that Avalon and Jake are starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
It's amazing what a bit of international experience will do for your confidence and your riding ability.
Well, didn't Avalon go and spend 2 years racing in Europe and won the Women's Cup 2 years running?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You don't do that by accident.
Fantastically talented riders, both of them. In fact, all of these riders out here today are fantastically talented. From first to last place in every class, everyone is riding exceptionally well. So here we go onto the straight.
But Avalon's got the edge. Not only is she fantastically quick, she's gorgeous looking too. So there we go. Jake can't claim that. But it is Jake Lewis. He's leading by 0.2 of a second as they go into 8 laps to go. This is a marathon race, ladies and gents. Almost twice the length of the normal race. And fatigue, fitness and preparation will be key. These bikes are getting up to temperature now. Everything's starting to warm up. It is going to be no holds barred for the next 8 laps. But as we said earlier with the Formula One race with Alistair Hugenboozem and Mitch Rees, depending on your strategy for the race, you could prefer to be out front, or you would prefer to be second, where you can see any mistakes that the rider's making.
And we've had a bike go down on the hairpin. Looks like the rider's up and well out of the way. The bike isn't in a dangerous position, so we'll be fine to carry on, I'd surmise.
Don't expect that'll stop the race. No, they're going pretty slow when they go past that. So,
well, pretty slow is a relative term.
Well,
they're still cranking around there at somewhere around about 85 kilometres an hour.
That's really scary. So we're only on lap 3 and they're already coming up to back markers. So it's Jake Lewis up in front, and he's about to run up to the back of Dion Marriott in 16th place.
Here they come onto the straight now. There's Jake with quite a good lead. Avalon's certainly not giving up though, and Seth Devereaux has pulled a bit of a gap. He's got himself a comfortable third position there now, ahead of Nick Kane and Ashton Hughes.
Half a second. Avalon's half a second back on Jake, and Seth Devereaux is 2.7 seconds behind him, with Nick Kane a further 3 seconds back, so there's not much in it. This still could be anybody's race. You only need to make one mistake at these speeds, and all of a sudden you miss a gear, you miss your apex, you brake a little bit late, all of a sudden it all turns to custard. So, you know, it really is an exact science, these guys racing at this sort of speed.
Absolutely.
You do not make one single error.
No,
you will be punished.
You have to be very, very focused. Part of the skill, I think, of being a top-level road racer is actually being able to control yourself. It's not smash the throttle and smash the brakes. It's smooth and fast and flowing. Of course, getting the throttle wide open as early as possible is part of it, but having a good flow through the infield, hitting your markers, hitting your braking points, turning in at the right point, they're all the critical factors. If you can achieve that, the speed comes naturally. And here we go. Jake now got a commanding lead.
So
Good
he's
gap back to third as
0.6 of a second. Over half a second in front now.
That's a pretty commanding lead in a 600cc class.
That's still only one gear change missed for Avalon to come back though.
True.
He carries phenomenal speed into the pothole corner. Look at the speed he's going into the hairpin. That's incredible.
Very, very late, very hard braking. In fact, he ran a bit deep and a bit wide.
A bit wide around there, yeah.
And that's allowed Avalon to come back on him. She's pulled that gap now, maybe 0.2 again. So that's good. It's not very often you see Jake make a mistake like that when he's not particularly under pressure. So maybe a little bit of fatigue. These guys and girls have done a lot of racing over this weekend. They've been racing since Friday 9 o'clock. They've been out here qualifying and practicing. A bit of fatigue will be setting in for sure.
That hairpin at those speeds, when you're braking from 200 k's, you brake hard, you load up the front of the bike. The last thing it wants to do is to turn a corner under those conditions, but you've got to start cornering before you finish braking, because there just isn't any room.
So to give an example of the forces that the guys are under braking into the hairpin, we put a G-force meter on one of the superbikes a few years ago, and some of the guys were pulling 2.5 Gs under braking into turn 1. So if you allow for the weight of the motorcycle and the bike, 2.5 Gs, 250 kilos combined, trying to stop 750 kilograms.
The gap's down to 0.3 of a second. So Avalon is holding fort, but she's still not quite close enough to challenge with Jake. But we do still have 5 laps to go. So she's holding court, she's holding position, but at the same time, she can't let Jake get any further ahead than that. She just can't afford him to start breaking away. He knows she's there.
She's doing a great job of just keeping on the tail. There's only 5 laps to go now, so they're at half race distance. So perhaps her plan was to make a break and see if she could get away, and if not, just settle into a rhythm behind Jake, follow him and pressure him into a mistake towards the last quarter of the race.
Well, as we found out with the last race, you only need to be leading on the last lap.
That's right. last turn, you've only got to be leading the last 2 metres across the line.
They are so fast through that complex and so smooth. Just looking at the way the bike's moving around this, absolutely planted, both of those bikes. Man, we are so lucky to get a demonstration of racing at this level on a club day. But
the riders are all riding to a very, very high standard out there today. I'm impressed with Seth Devereaux's riding today. Very, very clean, very tidy. Running third in the New Zealand GP. That's a good effort from Seth. National level competitor for years.
Well, Seth Devereaux has always been fast. I mean, he's broken his femur a couple of times. He should, you know, he's had the big accident everybody talks about. He's had 2 of them, and it hasn't seemed to slow him down. What he's had is reliability issues. Last year's Nationals, he would have been well placed, but had 2, 3 breakdowns over the season, which is enough. You only need 1, and that's put you out of contention. But
and there's Ashton Hughes making a move into the hairpin round the outside of Nick Kane, so that was a good move. He's decided it's time to get a jiggle on.
We've got a bike down in the dipper, right off, just off the edge of the track in the dipper. So Mark's going to try and clear it.
Might be Luca Durning, possibly, looking at the colours of the bike. It'd be a shame for Luca, all the way down from the North Island. And the leaders are making their way through the back markers now. Seth Devereaux just coming up on Cheryl Duplessis. Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, which I know I have. Huge apologies.
Duplessis.
Duplessis. Thank you, Phil. And look at this, Seth Devereaux.
Seth in 3rd spot. That's nothing to be afraid of. Ashton Hughes
is
and Nick Kane.
They're catching Seth now. Seth needs to get his concentration level up. Keep focusing on hitting his markers.
Avalon's 0.3 of a second behind Jake. Seth is 7 seconds behind Avalon. So the 2 of them have pulled away a substantial lead, but 0.3 of a second. We've got 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go.
I think Seth might have got tangled up with the back marker, just couldn't get past him on the sweep to the straight, and it's cost him a fair bit of time, and it certainly brought Ashton Hughes back into the play. So with 3 laps to go, the real battle is for 3rd place, 3rd, 4th and 5th, with Ashton Hughes, Nick Kane and Seth Devereaux. Looks like Seth's finding his rhythm again after being tangled with that back marker. He seems to have settled that gap. They've stopped being able to close him down.
The one
now
to
it's whether he can pull away.
The one to watch in that second group is in fact Nick Kane, because he's in a position where he can see what the others are doing. If he hasn't, he's watching what their lines are, where their braking marks are, and he's probably just saving that information up so he can use it when he can. But yeah, Nick Kane has an advantage. He's a little bit far behind Seth, but they're not tangling with each other at the moment. But Nick Kane has the advantage. Comes up on the back of Ashton Hughes as they come onto the straight. Can Nick catch the slipstream and outbrake him at the end of the straight? Whole shot into the left-hander. Not quite close enough, I suggest. Good grief, look at that.
Making the attempted pass. I wonder whether he's just showing the inside, because he's been showing the inside move into turn 1 for the last 4 or 5 laps. Maybe he's going to try a roll around the outside on the last lap.
There's a brave man that goes around the outside on that corner, I'm telling you.
Been tried and done. Looks like Seth's managed to regather himself now, and he's pulled back that gap a little bit, opened it out a wee bit over 4th place, so I think it must have just been not being able to get past that back marker held him up.
So 2 laps to go. Jake Lewis out in front, 3.3 of a second ahead of his fiancée on the Kawasaki. I still like saying that. I can't believe these guys are going to get married. How many bikes do you reckon are going to turn up at their wedding?
I'd say all of them. All of them.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to get married at Ruapuna, I'd say. I don't know. But, yeah.
And a good,
if Jake beats her this time, he's definitely cooking his own tea tonight.
I'd say so. Good wee battle going on for 6th and 7th as well between, is that Dylan Telford and Dan Jenkins out there?
It is Dan Jenkins, Dennis's sidecar partner.
Yeah, former sidecar swinger.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Oh, somebody got it wrong going into the left-hander, right-hander.
And there we go with only 1 lap to go.
White flag's out. So come on, Avalon. If you're going to do it, you've got to do it now, girl. Come on.
Jake's pulled a fairly substantial lead there. I'd say 1.5 seconds almost by the look of that. It'll take some ferocity from Avalon to be able to pull that back now. Or a mistake from Jake.
Or a mistake, and it only takes one missed gear change, and that's enough.
Absolutely.
She'll be getting fed up with staring at his backside, that's for sure.
So Jake Lewis leading with a reasonably comfortable margin. 2.5, maybe 1.8. There is a back marker, but I don't think that the back marker will be an issue. Jake should be able to work his way quite cleanly past him, even if he catches him.
There's no room. He's not going to get in the way. And besides, Jake's got room with Avalon being half a second behind. So yeah, it's not going to happen. It is looking like Jake Lewis is going to take the checkered flag.
So that would be a Grand Prix title for Jake Lewis to go with his World Championship title.
Yeah, it will.
I'm sure his trophy room's looking mighty full.
And it is a win for Jake Lewis.
And second place to Avalon Biddle. Fantastic ride from Avalon on the Kawasaki. And here we go with Seth Devereaux making the run for 3rd place. Fantastic ride from Seth on the MV Augusta. Nick Kane in 4th.
Ashton Hughes
in 5th. Great ride.
That's a tremendous effort. Fastest lap of the race, 1:33.0 by Jake. Fastest lap by Avalon was 1:33.3. 0.3 of a second.
And there's Dylan Telford and SJ Cavell going through, followed by Dan Jenkins. And young Harry Parker from Southland. Another fantastic young rider out of the Southland Motorcycling Club. I believe he's supported by Rogers Yamaha in Invercargill.
So Jake Lewis, Avalon Biddle, Seth Devereaux, Nick Kane, Ashton Hughes, Dylan Telford, SJ Cavell. Outstanding racing. Outstanding. Right, ladies and gents, that brings to a close our GP class. There is now going to be a lunch break. I don't even know what time it is. 1:20. Bloody hell. And there's going to be a bit of a break. We're also going to have some of the junior road races out. So the little